Namaste. Good evening. This is Dr. Aparna. I am your emotional healing synergist. I'm an Ayurvedic psychotherapist, a passionate infopreneur, medical writer, and a budding YouTuber. In my pursuit to address, promote, and propagate Ayurveda and psychotherapy globally, I come up with discussions every week on Ayurveda, psychotherapy, mental health, and other aspects. Uh, in the yesterday in the previous session we were discussing one of the methods for emotional metamorphosis uh, is book reading. And I was you know we did I talked through the book Maybe You Should Talk to Someone by Lori Gottlieb. So we discussed Lori as a therapist, as a psychotherapist, and as a client herself. So, if you want the part one review, it is available both in my YouTube and LinkedIn. Today, we are discussing, today is day two because yesterday I couldn't cover the full book synopsis because we are discussing it in detail. So I would recommend you to watch the first session before you come to the second one, today's session. So yesterday we were discussing, most of Lori Gottlieb's experience with her own therapist. You know, like this we talked about the book, chronicles about the author's experiences in the therapy room with her own therapist, which she had named in the book as Wendell. So she initially seeks therapy after a personal crisis and navigates her own emotional journey. So we discussed about the therapist vulnerability. So you know though she was a psychotherapist herself, she opted for her own therapy. So and she experiences the power of her therapist's vulnerability and authenticity. We talked that her therapist is very much authentic. He did not give her just the idiot compassion. He instead chose to give her the wise compassion. We talked about the difference between what is idiot compassion and wise compassion. You can refer yesterday's session if you want to know it in detail. So this book also highlights the idea that therapists are human too, and this human connection can be profoundly significant in healing. So, and we talked about acceptance and change. So author's journey exemplifies the idea that acceptance is often the precursor to a meaningful change. You have to accept yourself, then process your emotions, then it is a precursor to a meaningful change. So author's willingness to confront difficult truths about herself, that leads to her personal growth. Because we talked we I talked through I just spoke about the concept that when a client goes to a therapist, he or she doesn't trust the therapist fully. So they may hide few things or they may lie about few things. When they are being confronted, and when they're willing to accept the difficult truths, then this leads to personal growth. And she also we also discussed that there is in the book a section where the therapeutic process from the client's perspective. See, as our therapist here, author is herself is a client. So a therapy from the client perspective. So author narrates, how she felt, how what was her experience being a therapy client, you know and how we get the world of here psychotherapy and how the therapy works, and and how what is the role of a therapist and what is a role of a therapy client. So in overall, the next we are going to discuss some case studies, mentioned in the book. So the case studies also showcase the transformative potential of the therapy, the importance of human connection, and the power of vulnerability, and how the resilience factor, the power of bouncing back, and the capacity for growth and healing even in the face of profound pain and struggle. So this book is for both, as I said yesterday, it is for both therapy seekers and therapists. Next is, when we talked about her the author's breakup, and that was a crisis in her life. That is the reason she visited she happened to visit a psychotherapist, a seasoned psychotherapist. Here, in the next section, briefly, she has also mentioned that there is a conversation between her and her son, because she has to tell the news to her son that she and her partner have broke up. And her son asks her, she is quite honest and open about it, but she cannot tell the actual reason. She is hesitating to tell her son that the actual reason for breakup was that her partner couldn't, did not want to take the responsibility of the child, that he she couldn't tell that. But there were, if you read the book, there are some hesitating conversation, but she is open and honest about uh, the breakup, that they are not together now. And her son offers some of the solutions as well, when she talks about when he asks the reasons for breakup. And he talks about her son talks about, a 10-year-old talks about compromising, having, you can compromise once, he can compromise once, why can't you guys compromise and be together, and why are you parting ways. All these conversations go around a mother and a son. But here, what is the most important part is she has also highlighted, some insights and advice on parenting, you know what she felt. See, the most important thing for a parent to the child is emotional availability. See, one of the key aspects of the author mentions that one of the key aspects of effective parenting highlighted in the book is the importance of being emotionally available for your child. This means not just being physically present, but also being attuned to their emotional needs. So, what is emotional availability? Active listening, it involves active listening, validating their feelings, and creating a safe space for them to express themselves, without being judgmental, letting children express themselves, their concerns, and listening to them actively, before advising them, before giving the advice. Next is the boundaries and consistency. boundaries meaning here setting clear boundaries is crucial for a child's sense of security and understanding of right or wrong. And consistency in enforcing these boundaries helps provide a structured environment that promotes a sense of stability. So, what happens is here in her case, she was honest about the breakup, but she set a boundary that she is not going to tell, she did not tell him that he was the reason for breakup, because it would not, it was. It would not be from the child's sense of security, it could be wrong. So setting boundaries and consistency, so what should be told while you're being honest, open and clear conversation, the clarity. You also have to have the boundary what to talk about and what not to talk about, and the consistency as well. So next point is the empathy and validation. That means understanding a child's perspective and acknowledging their feelings, even if they seem trivial or irrational. Here her son was giving her some advices to compromise and not to part ways, because it was a toll on him as well. So here she that is why she's explaining, mentioning that you know you have to understand and respect a child's perspective, acknowledge their feelings, even if you feel they are not rational. But this is a cornerstone for effective parenting, and the child also feels understood and valued and feels responsible, you know and what happens is this all these foster healthy emotional development. Next is this encourages independence. Encouraging independence in children is also very important. That means allowing children to make age appropriate decisions and take on responsibilities helps build their confidence and sense of autonomy. It is important to strike a balance between guidance and giving them space to explore. So this is very much important. you know we don't have to control the child. We have to allow children to make age appropriate decisions and taking on responsibilities. What happens is this helps build their confidence and sense of autonomy. So this is a right balance between, there should be a right balance between guidance, always guiding them. First of all, children do not appreciate that. Second of all, it does not encourage independence, it encourages dependence. So we have to, parents have to give them space to explore. Next is to model healthy behavior. See, children don't learn by the guidance, they learn by the example. They learn by observing things. What you do, they do that. So they follow. So, as children learn by example, it's crucial for parents to demonstrate the behaviors and values they want in their children to adopt. This includes how you handle stress, conflicts, and self care. So, open communication, creating an environment where children feel comfortable discussing their thoughts, concerns, and questions is, vital. So, there should be an environment, where children are comfortable discussing their thoughts, their concerns, their questions. So, this involves not just talking to them, but actively listening to them and being receptive to their needs. Next is flexibility and adaptability. So, recognizing that every child is unique and may require different approaches is important. Being open to adjusting your parent's style based on your child's personality and needs is a sign of effective parenting. Flexibility and adaptability also is very much important. So one formula or one parental, there is no parental protocol that only this will work, because every child is unique, and for different for every child, different approach or different parenting approach or different parenting protocols may need to be followed. There is no set protocol that you should do this at this age, you should do this, you should try, explore and experiment. So so being open to adjusting your parenting style, how based on your child's personality, every child is different, and every and needs of children is also different. So this is a sign of effective parenting. Next, self care for parents as well. This book discusses, taking care of your own physical and emotional well being. This is very crucial. When parents are well rested, emotionally balanced and fulfilled, a stable relationship have a stable relationship, they are better equipped to provide a nurturing environment for their children. Next is encourage emotional intelligence. So teaching children to recognize and manage their emotions is a valuable life skill. As I said, being aware of your emotions, recognizing your emotions and managing your emotions is one of the key concept in emotional intelligence. So encouraging emotional intelligence in children. So what happens is this involves helping them understand their feelings, express them in a healthy way and cope with challenges. So the next thing is unconditional love. Showing consistent love and support regardless of a child's behavior or achievements creates a foundation of trust and security that is essential for healthy development. So apart from all this unconditional love, that a child should feel that he or she is being loved, and supported and heard, and this creates a foundation of trust and security. This is, essential for, healthy relationship. So this is a dynamic process and a continuous process which requires continuous learning, adaptations, improvements. So this is about a conversation, parenting, the parenting tips, parenting insights mentioned in the book. Whatever I have, understood. All this is not directly mentioned as this. This is my comprehension of what is mentioned in the book. So here next, while she is taking therapy, she is a therapist, so she has to also, see patients, see clients on a therapy clients on a regular basis. So her first client here, she has named, these are all pseudonyms, but she has named him John. So here we'll see first what is the case study of John and what happens in his life later. So John's a very successful Hollywood scriptwriter who thinks that he is surrounded by idiots. See, this person's problem is, while she met John in the beginning, he thinks that he is the only intelligent person, and all of the people around him are idiots. So he secretly starts going to the therapy due to the stress and difficulties with his wife. Why he comes to the therapy is the relationship, problems with his wife, rather than, admitting to going to therapy. So she doesn't tell people that he is going to therapy. He hides that, and see, and he's, very rude, when the author meets her client John for the first time, he seems to be very rude. He's and he has a bit of less discipline, like he orders food in between the session and getting delivered it during the therapy session. All that he does, she writes it in a comic way, that I found this person very funny and rude. So eventually, the author gets to know that, and we found we, while reading the book, find out that John had a young son, Gabe, who was killed in a car accident when he was 6. So deep down, he and his wife blamed each other for it. In a car accident, his 6-year-old son died. Even after they found out the other driver was drunk, and that drove a wedge between them. So what happens is, at night, he's while his wife assumes that John is working, or John is, watching something, John is she feels that John is keeping himself busy. He is not addressing the grief of losing his child. Deep down, this is the problem. But he doesn't tell this to the psychotherapist in the beginning. He comes with a problem of, just understand, he comes with a problem that he has an issue with his wife, and his wife is going to a therapist, and therapist is teaching her something, some stupid things, because he thinks that he's the only intelligent person and all the people around him are idiots. So, and eventually, when we go when the psychotherapist ducks deeper and confronts him, then she comes to know of the death of his son, so 6-year-old son. So what John was doing is, John was actually hiding out, he was not watching anything else. He was watching his son's old videos of Gabe. He's worried that his memories of Gabe, particularly the happier ones, are getting fussier over time, and he doesn't want to forget his son. So he also isolates himself most of the time, and he is unable to find joy either in his career or relationship. So author thinks that, at the beginning, John's narcissistic traits are, are a defense mechanism. Narcissism here is when a person thinks that he is superior and he knows everything, and he is a super being, and he cannot make any mistakes. So that is a narcissistic traits. We'll talk about narcissism in one of the sessions. So he author the psychotherapist thinks that John's narcissistic traits are a defense mechanism. So over time, though those defenses comes down, and John makes steps to repair his marriage. Ultimately, there is a happy ending, but how, what are the lessons we learn here, what happens, we'll discuss. So grief and loss. So the case emphasizes the importance of acknowledging and processing grief. He was not acknowledging and processing grief. He, deep down, he had feelings for his son, but he never expressed. He was not acknowledging the grief and processing the grief, even when it feels overwhelming. So it shows that seeking support and talking about one's pain can be crucial step towards healing. That means this is the first step. When you seek support and talk about the your pain, this is the first step towards healing. because you acknowledge pain and you're processing pain. Next is isolation and connection. So John's, isolation is a reminder of, need for human connection. So especially during the times of deep suffering, he did not even have the human connection with his wife. He lost it somewhere, you know because of his narcissistic traits. So this highlights the therapeutic value of establishing a supportive network. So the loss, his son's loss, he grapples with profound grief after the sudden death of his 6-year-old son. So this loss has left him emotionally isolated, unable to find joy in his career and struggling in his relationships. So navigating grief and loss. So how does he navigate, how to navigate grief and loss here is, see, eventually, not in the beginning, John shares his deep pain and sorrow over the loss of his son. He expresses feelings of guilt, anger, and overwhelming sadness. Here, one more thing is also, in the beginning, when when we talked in the last session yesterday, when I was talking through that, the author also hid some things from the therapist. First, she didn't share that her problem is not just the breakup. Then the psychotherapist confronts her that, what I think that the breakup is not your actual problem. Her actual thing was, she is going to be alone for the lifetime now. So, and there is something deep. The problem is, the problem for which the client approaches therapy is different, but the deep down, the when we delve down deeper, we come to know that the actual reason for needing a therapy is actually different. So this highlights the importance of allowing oneself to grieve and seek support during the times of loss. So it shows that processing and expressing grief is a vital part of the healing process. So the next is isolation and connection. So John reveals that he has withdrawn from his friends and family. He is feeling, he's not able to connect to his wife and his friends after the death of his 6-year-old son. So what this highlights is need for human connection, especially during the times of deep suffering. And next is acceptance and forgiveness. So John struggles with the feelings of guilt and regret. He feels that deep inside he has a guilt that he killed his son, uh, you know uh, by mistake. That means why his son was died in a car accident, in a bad car accident. But he deep down, he grapples, and he at the end forgives himself and comes out of it. So this also illustrates us the power of acceptance and forgiveness in finding peace and moving forward from painful experiences. It emphasizes the importance of self compassion. The role of therapeutic presence. So Lori provides a safe and empathetic space for John to express his emotions without judgment. you know um Here, and empathy. So what is the role of therapist as well here? So the author provides a safe and empathetic space for John to express his emotions without judgment, because in the beginning he is not ready to expose, but because of her empathy and her openness and clarity in communication, helps him, gives him a space, provides a space for, and a safe environment for him to express his emotions without a judgment. So this highlights the significance of a therapist presence, in creating a secure environment for clients to explore their feelings. It underscores, the power of active listening and genuine empathy. So the next thing is the impact of trauma on identity. So here in conversation, John reflects on how the loss of his son has shaken his sense of identity and purpose. So somewhere, the loss and grief of his 6-year-old son, has shaken completely his sense of identity and purpose. So this demonstrates how profound trauma can challenge one's core sense of self. So, it emphasizes the potential for therapy to support clients in redefining the the sense of identity and purpose. After seeking support, he he could redefine his sense of identity and sense of purpose, that is sense of survival. So the therapist as a mirror, that means author here serves as a mirror reflecting back John's emotions and experiences in a way that allows him to process and make sense of them. So what this portrays is the therapist's role in helping clients gain insight into their own emotions and behaviors. It highlights the power of mirroring the therapeutic process. Notable insights and solutions. Permissions to grieve. So, what solutions and insights we can gain from this? So, the permission to grieve, that means John's case emphasizes the importance of giving oneself permission to fully grieve, once for all. That it shows that it's normal and healthy to experience a wide range of emotion after a significant loss. The second thing is finding meaning in loss. That means through therapy, John begins to explore ways to find meaning and purpose in his life despite the pain of his loss. He is not forgetting his loss, but finding meaning through his loss. This shows the potential for personal growth, transformation, even in the face of unimaginable grief. So, the resilience in the human spirit. John's journey showcases the resilience of the human spirit. So, it demonstrates that even in the darkest moments, there is potential for healing and personal growth. So, here John's journey showcases the resilience of the human spirit. So and it demonstrates that it shows that even in the darkest moments there is a potential for healing and personal good. In the end, we talked we know we spoke about he's a Hollywood producer. He produces a beautiful emotional uh, show. This speaks even in the grief, even while he is taking therapy. He does that. He enters into the stage of that personal growth. Next is the therapeutic relationship. So the dynamics between therapist and a therapy client, you know uh, shows us the power of strong relationship. Their connection and trust serve as a foundation for John's healing journey, because uh, the author made a safe and secure environment and empathetic environment for him to reveal and acknowledge his grief and loss. So, the importance of validation, that means the author validates John's emotions and experiences. So, creating a space where he feels, heard and understood. So, this, demonstrate the, therapeutic value of validation in the healing progress. So, and finding meaning, as we talked about, the journey of finding meaning after a devastating loss demonstrates the potential for personal growth and transformation, even in the face of unimaginable pain. This is the first case study. So, we still have three important case studies mentioned in the book. So, I think that is it for today. I'll come up with one or two sessions again on this. We will discuss other case studies in the next session. Hope you find I hope that you found some useful insights and key takeaways from the session. So if you have any queries or if you have read the book and if you have any insights on the book, and if you have any important key takeaways, or if you have something different that you felt when you read the book, please let me know in the comments section. Thank you for staying tuned. I'll meet you guys in the next session. Thank you. Namaste.